Kwiqvis was challenged by an experienced Tableau developer to prove Kwiqvis is faster, better and easier to use than Tableau. We were delighted to accept that challenge and put it on the web for you all to see. In this test we will use the same data to create a customer sales dashboard. Here are a couple of screenshots sent to us by the Tableau developers. These dashboards were created using Tableau Desktop. We will be using Kwiqvis self-service, which is 100% cloud. We'll start by logging into Kwiqvis self-service from our website. First thing we need to do is to load the data. So let's give our project a name. We'll call it Tableau Challenge. Next we need to upload our data, so we just click on the Upload and Prepare Data button. We can change the dashboard name or the data file description. We'll leave them as they are. Just browse to our file, and we're going to use the sample Superstore data. This is the same data set used in both dashboards. Now what's happening now is the data is being analysed. Any errors in the data, common delimiters in the wrong place, text qualifiers in the wrong place are all repaired automatically. The data is being analysed for types, and types are being converted, so dates are being converted to date, numbers into numbers. That's the data loaded. The next thing to do is to open up the dashboard data manager. This is a list of projects that I've already loaded into my self-service account. Here is the data we've just loaded from the file. Let's go ahead and click on the dashboard designer. And here's our data loaded into a grid dashboard item. Let's remove that, start from a blank canvas. So the first thing we need to do is to create the statistics at the top. Count of customers, sales, quantity, sales by customer, profit and profit ratio. So let's go ahead and do that. So the first thing we need to do is create a group container. So that will add a chart, like so, and create a count of customers by region. So let's drag our customer name in as a value, bring in the region, and convert this to be a count distinct. Move this down to the argument, go to the design and rotate it. Now we need to now sort the bars into descending order. So we go to the region, sort by customer name, and in descending order. Next we need to add some point labels. So click on the chart icon here next to the data item, choose the point label tab, click on point labels. Next, a similar view for sales. So let's, rather than go through the steps again, just duplicate this one and then bring in the sales value here. Again, sort it by sales. Duplicate this one again. This one will be quantity, so just bring in the quantity as a value. We want to sort by the sales figure as well, so we need to bring sales in as a measure, is in the hidden data items there. And now we can sort by sales. Let's now create a view of sales per customer. Now this one's quite tricky because we need to do a distinct count calculation per customer. So to do that, we'll edit the data source. And this is something that is unique to our tool. We can actually change the SQL that is automatically generated, so you can use the power of the SQL Server database engine. So here we can add a couple of fields here. Just paste in some code, which basically creates two columns. One of them is a calculation based on the count distinct customer name divided by sales, and the other one is a calculation to give us the profit ratio. So, okay, and you can see down here that's added a couple of extra columns. Before we go any further, let's create some names for our charts. So we'll edit the names. This one is our count of customers. This one is sales. third one is our quantity. Let's create the sales per customer dashboard. So we just duplicate this one, set the name to be sales per customer. Bring in the column we created earlier, distinct count of customers. This needs to be an average, and we need to change the format to currency. One's the comma separator. At this point we'll go back and change the currency to be USD. And we'll do the same for sales as well. We'll just format the number to currency, like so. And now we need to add the profit chart. So we need a duplicate of this one to bring in profit. Again, format the numbers to be currency. And then finally the profit ratio. So copy this one again. Change the names. So this is our profit ratio. This one was our profit. Okay, so we've got our charts going from left to right. We can actually remove these labels now. So let's just format these so they're all nice and even. Right, now we need to move some of these labels on the charts to the right of the first chart. To do that, we go to Design, click on X-axis, and remove it. Do that for each one. Now let's go back to the dashboard created by the Tableau developers. So the final items on the dashboard are sales and profit by customer and a customer ranking. Now unfortunately, looking at this dashboard, it doesn't seem to make an awful lot of sense. The colours relate to the profit ratio, but if you look at the profit ratio slider, it's very difficult to associate the colour with the customer ranking. Now we could simply replicate the point chart from the Tableau developers example, simply by creating a new chart. Let's move this down the bottom. Bring in the sales as a value, bring in the profit as an argument, and then bring in the profit ratio as a series. Set the chart to be a point chart. That gives us our scattered view, and if we then go to the design mode and rotate it, you'll see we have exactly the same coloured point chart. But as I said, it's not very easy to read or associate the colours to the profit ratio. So let's try a new approach. Let's remove this. Let's first add a grid. Move that to the bottom. Squash the charts up at the top. Okay, then we'll add customer name, sales. We'll make this a bar. Add sales again. Make this one a currency. Add the profit ratio. Create this one as a bar. And then finally add profit ratio again. Format this one to be a percentage. Average. Okay, and then we need to sort by sales in descending order. So we take the customer name, sort by sales in descending order. Now this gives us a better view of customer ranking versus profit ratio. You can see that in line. Now let's take a look at the second dashboard. It shows a map of the United States, showing sales by state. Again, it's very difficult to associate the colours with the sales value. So let's create a different kind of map called a choropleth map, which will help us to visualise the values in the states much clearer. So to do this, we need to add a map from the menu, change the default map to USA, so we've got a view of the states, and bring in the states into the attribute data item. We then bring in the sales as a value. You can now see California here is now where the majority of the sales are. Let's just add some labels so we can identify the states, and a legend. Okay, so now we have a view of sales by state, which is much easier to visualize. We can also add another layer here, so let's add profit in as another value. That now gives us another view, so if we drop down this layer here, we can now see profit by state. Okay, so let's tidy these up and put them in a group. So we just drop this control into the group, and state, keep them together. Okay, and let's add another group. We'll create a view by category and subcategory. So let's first of all add a pie chart into the group. For this we need the category as an argument and the sales as a value. Let's bring in the profit as well as a value. That gives us two charts, so we can now see the breakdown by profit and sales for category. Let's also add an additional column for subcategory and turn this into a drill down. Now what this allows you to do is to drill down to another level within the pie. So if I double click in technology, I can see the subcategories that are underneath category. I can draw back up again. Let's duplicate this view, move it to the bottom, and turn this one into a chart. Now let's combine the two value elements together into a stacked bar chart. That now gives us the sales and profit ratio within the bar. Let's give these a name. Give the group a name. Do the same in the other group. Okay, so let's now create some filter elements. We'll start with a new group, move this to the left, and we'll bring in a list box for the year, put that into the group, and we'll take the order date as a dimension. That now gives us a list of years. Let's turn that into a radio button, so we can only select one year at a time. Let's then add a segment filter. So bring in a list box, pop that into the bottom of the group, drag in segment as our dimension, and then add a category tree. So a tree view, bring that in, just pop that to the right, bring in the category and the subcategory. That then allows us to navigate through the category tree and select and deselect categories. Let's now create a profit ratio filter. We need to add the profit ratio as a value. Set the format to a percentage. We'll just give these filters a name. So that's it. Our dashboard is complete. Let's go back to the data manager and have a look at some of the other options. We can view our dashboard in full screen, or we can send it to one of our colleagues via email. So let's send the dashboard via email. Okay, all we do is just type in the recipient's name. Your colleague then receives the email and they'll be able to click on the link. The link opens the dashboard in full screen in your web browser. The link can also be used to embed dashboards into a web page or SharePoint. So here's our completed dashboard. We can see across the top our sales and profit, count of customers, sales quantity, sales per customer, profit and profit ratio. We have our filter elements on the left hand side. We can see our years. We can filter by segment. We can filter by category and subcategory. In the middle we have sales and profit by state. So this shows us our sales by state, and we can also change that so we can see profit by state. Down the bottom we can see in line our customer ranking and profitability. We can clearly see our suppliers in descending order in terms of sales, and we can also do that for profit ratio. If we click on profit ratio column, we can sort that in descending order. On the right hand side we can see sales and profit by category. So we're looking at two pie charts here, by sales and profit, and we can drill down into technology, into its subcategory. And we can go back up, clear the filter, and do the same using the bar chart below. And in this chart we can see the ratio of profit against sales. And that's it. Thank you for watching.